Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us here at Loveless Women's Hospital. You have reached the Welcoming New Baby seminar. My name is Catherine Ross, and I'm a community health educator here at Women's Hospital in the Labor of Love program. Thank you very much for taking time out of your night to be with us. Two more wonderful people are here with me tonight. Kim Halliday Clear, she is my manager. She's manager of lactation, Labor of Love, and patient services at Loveless Women's Hospital. We also have Gabrielle Castellas, marketing coordinator. Thank you for your patience. I'm a little new at this, so I really appreciate your patience. What to expect tonight, we're going to talk about why siblings are so important. We're going to talk about scheduling priorities, strategies to welcome your new baby, and how to still remember to take care of you. Please definitely use the chat option that you have on the right of your screen. You can go ahead and ask questions through there, make comments about what we're talking about. And if we don't have enough time to address all the questions that come up, you are welcome to send your questions and your information to laboroflove@loveless.com. All right, we have an icebreaker just to begin with. You can put your answers into the chat line or just, play in your own mind, whatever works for you. I have a few famous siblings, and so your job is to guess the other part of the famous sibling. So some of them, you have to be an old lady like me to know who they are, and some of them are really with it. So for our icebreaker, we've got Serena Williams, and who is her famous sibling? I'll give you just a second to think about that. All right, her famous sibling happens to be Venus Williams. They're both supreme tennis players. Then we have one from the 70s, Leon Spinks. Who the heck is Leon Spinks? His famous sibling? Anybody know? They are both boxers, and his famous sibling is Michael Spinks. And now we have Shirley MacLaine. She is an Oscar winner, and so is her famous brother. Now, her brother does not have the same last name, so do you know it? Oh, we have a hand. Someone knows it. Okay, so Shirley MacLaine's brother is Warren Beatty, who, again, is an Oscar winner as well. Now, no one's going to know this next one, Eli Manning. Who is his favorite famous sibling? Oh, Peyton. Right, got it. Thank you, thank you. And you could also switch that around, I guess. Who's Peyton's famous sibling? Now, Wilbur Wright. He has a famous brother. I'll give you a hint. It has something to do with flying. So most often we call them the Wright brothers, but they do indeed have names. So it's Wilbur and Orville, the inventors of the airplane. All right, Linda and Leslie Lopez. Who is their famous sibling? All right, it would be J-Lo. So one of the sisters is a homemaker, one is a journalist, and the other, of course, is J-Lo. Can you put a name on that? And then we have Peter Bratt. His famous sibling is Benjamin Bratt. Then there's Monica and Eduardo Cruz. And if you're thinking Tom Cruise is the famous sibling, you would be wrong. It is Penelope Cruz. So thank you very much for having a little bit of fun with me. Now we're going to talk a little bit about why siblings are so important. I had a friend, and her cat was named Albus Dumbledore. I promise, this does relate. And this cat was just the sweetest little thing, and his best friend was Molly, the dog. Now, one day, Molly went missing. And I tell you what, Albus was absolutely devastated. He stopped eating. He stopped taking care of himself. He just laid around in complete lethargy. And he was so, so sad without his Molly. And thankfully, we have a happy ending. We're able to find Molly. We're reunited with Albus. And even though this is, a cat and a dog, if you're pet lovers or if you understand, the feelings that animals have, then this can really show you how important siblings are. I have a few quotes from the National Resource Center for Foster Care Curriculum, and I want to share them with you simply because these are quotes about children who have been taken out of their homes for whatever reason and need placed. And so some of the professionals are looking at whether they should place the siblings together or not. So some of the quotes are, being placed together with siblings adds to a child's feeling of safety in a strange environment. Sometimes it is only through their siblings that children have been able to gain any positive esteem. When they see good qualities in a brother or sister, they are less likely to see themselves as a bad kid from a bad family. Now this next part, I think a lot more people can relate to as well. Siblings are often able to reveal to each other parts of themselves that they are reluctant to share with anyone else, thus strengthening the bond between them. I'm sure all of us have a few memories of some pillow talk and a lot of good times with our siblings. A few more bits of information from the National Resource Center is the early ties siblings form remain even when they are separated in foster care or through adoption. Today, I found this statistic very interesting. More former foster children are searching for their siblings than for their parents. Always ask the children what their preference is regarding placement. Some agencies will place one child separately because they know the placement is available, allowing siblings to be placed elsewhere because the first family is unable or unwilling to take the group. And this next sentence I thought was so telling. While permanency for one child may be achieved, the price to each of the children and the total group may be too high. So we're talking about a situation that's really important for the children in this situation. And it's just vital that they have that support from their siblings. It's different than any other relationship that they have. All right, I just have a few fun pictures here just for you to enjoy. The middle picture is my coworker. She's on the end. That's her parents' 50th wedding anniversary. So just some fun sibling pictures. I'm sure most of you have a loving relationship with your siblings. And I'm also sure that you could attest that if you have any dissonance between your siblings, it is especially painful, not just for you, but for other family members as well. Many of us have dear friendships with the siblings that we hated the most growing up. I adore my sister who pummeled me, to a pulp when I was younger. So keep this in mind as you transition into parenting more children. Time can foster great relationships, so try not to worry. All right, I have a poem for you. But before I read the poem, I just want to share this slide with you. I just love how it's a wolf pack, because they're together and they're just a really united unit. So it talks about siblings, and it has a little acrostic here. Sisters and brothers irritating each other, bond that's unbreakable, love that lasts forever. Incredible annoying at times, never alone no matter what, greatly appreciated, surviving everything together. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Now this poem is by Donald Charles Mark Keyes. Siblings. Now you have to understand that the greatest gift a child can receive is a sibling. Wrapped up in that hospital delivery is limitless potential. They can be your partner in crime or the key witness in your conviction. A sibling fights the same battles you do, just with different tactics. Some prefer to pit mom against dad, others dad against mom. No one will ever walk the earth as close to you. Part of the DNA that makes you unique flows in their veins. Even if circumstances change, that bond cannot be broken. They will annoy you. They'll steal from you. They'll drive you crazy. And if you're lucky enough, they hate you. And yet, they are your best friend, confidant, and the person who, if you're fortunate enough, will go to hell and back as fast for you as you would for them. So to all the siblings out there, may you be playmates in adversity and friendly rivals in joy. Thank you very much, Donald Charles Mark Keyes. All right, I have a question for you. How comfortable are you with bringing a new sibling into your family dynamics? Again, you're welcome to type your answers into the chat line, but you can also just think about it depending on where you are and what you're doing. So your choices are, of course, you can feel however you want. I just thought of a few options. I got this, Hakuna Matata, no problem. I'm really nervous, but I'm happy. I'm really stressed out. I can't take it. I don't know what I'm going to do with another baby. All of these things are perfectly normal, and you might feel all of them depending on a different day. But that's why we're here at this webinar. We're going to talk about these things. All right, I have another reading for you, and it's called Loving Two, but of course it works for anyone, no matter what number of child you're having, if this is your third or fourth or even your eighth. So the poem is called Loving Two. I apologize that I don't have the author for this one, but I do have the website at the end. I walk along holding your 2-year-old hand, basking in the glow of our magical relationship. Suddenly, I feel a kick from within, as if to remind me that our time alone is limited. And I wonder, how could I ever love another child as I love you? Born. And I watch you. I watch the pain you feel at having to share me as you've never shared me before. I hear you telling me in your own way, please, love only me. And I hear myself telling you in mine, I can't, knowing in fact that I never can again. You cry, I cry with you. I almost see our new baby as an intruder on the precious relationship we once shared. A relationship we can never quite have again, but then, barely noticing, I find myself attached to that new being and feeling almost guilty. I'm afraid to let you see me enjoying him as though I am betraying you. But then I notice your resentment change, first to curiosity, then to protectiveness, finally to genuine affection. More days pass, and we settle into a new routine. The memory of days with just the two of us is fading fast, but something else is replacing those wonderful times we shared, just we two. There are new times, only now we are 3. I watch the love between you grow, the way you look at each other, touch each other. I watch how he adores you, as I have for so long. I see how excited you are by each of his new accomplishments, and I begin to realize that I haven't taken something from you. I've given something to you. I notice that I am no longer afraid to share my love openly with you. Oh, excuse me, my love openly with both of you. I find that my love for each of you is as different as you are, but equally strong. And my question is finally answered. To my amazement, yes, I can love another child as much as I love you, only differently. And although I realize that you may have to share my time, I now know you'll never share my love. There's enough of that for both of you. And each of you have your own supply. I love you both, and I thank you both for blessing my life. I remember feeling similarly. It's not uncommon for parents to take maybe even a few weeks or a few months to completely bond with a new child, especially if it's something like adoption. Often the baby grows in your heart rather than in your body. And it doesn't make you abnormal if you don't have that Disney moment when you first see your baby and you don't have that perfect moment right at birth. Very normal. Any other thoughts that parents feel, definitely please share them. I'd love to hear what you're thinking about, maybe your concerns, your fears, things that you're excited about. As a parent of 4 daughters, I can testify that little warms my heart as much as seeing my daughters love each other. The year that they started making Christmas presents for each other rather than just making out a big long list is implanted deep in my heart. All right, any of you worried about how this new, we have a question. Will my daughter be jealous of the attention and time I need to spend with my baby? Most likely. And that's a great question, a very common concern. As we go through the program, we're going to talk about different ways of helping your daughter with you, helping her adjust, and giving her ways to, get to know this new baby and also get to know her new role as a big sister. Does that feel comfortable? I hope so. All right. Okay, so the next topic, are any of you worried about how this new baby will challenge your schedule? We're going to talk about a wait list, good, better, best, building in extra time, planning ahead, and taking advantage of naps, as well as taking care of you. So I just love that little guy in the middle. Everything is top priority. Sometimes we feel that way. But guess what? It's not. It's not really top priority. So one thing I want to share with you is wait list, reschedule, and cancel. So as you're looking at your activities and you're planning, especially right after that baby comes home, I want you to think about it and think, do I have to do this right now? Can I put it on a wait list? Can I reschedule it? My girlfriend was planning this wonderful coming-of-age party for her daughter, and it was a tremendously beautiful event. But as the date got closer, she just was getting, a lot more stressful. And so she decided to put it off for 2 weeks. And guess what? The world kept spinning. Everything was fine. It was a lovely event. Everyone came, and she was able to reduce her stress. Ask yourself, can I cancel this event? Do I have to go to this event? And maybe you do. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you have to fit it in. But oftentimes we can look at that and we can make a choice that's a little bit better for our family at the time. Also, one of my favorite techniques, good, better, best, and it can be used in a wide variety of ways and not just with siblings, but it was given to me by someone that I heard him speaking. He's one of my role models. And he talked about good, better, best, like back when you had to go into the store, just the country store, and you couldn't just go to Walmart and buy whatever you wanted. You had to order everything from a catalog. And so you'd go in, look at the catalog, and there were 3 pictures of shoes. There was the good pair of shoes for a certain price, the better pair of shoes for a certain price, and then the best pair of shoes. And so when you look at your activities, often we are not choosing between a good activity and a bad activity. We're choosing between many good things that we can do. But could there be a better way to spend our time? Could there be even the best way to spend our time? So I encourage you as you're looking at your schedules and as you're planning to think of good, better, best, and also, do I have to do this right now? I love these pictures because this is like my life mostly. All right, we're going to teach a couple coping mechanisms, building in extra time and planning ahead. You will need at least 15 minutes extra just to get out the door and to get ready to go do things. When my 2 daughters were little, they were 17 months apart, I was tandem breastfeeding, and I needed about 45 minutes to an hour. And so, definitely just take the chunk of time that you need. It might not be just 15 minutes. Newborns, you put them in the car seat, they get into the car pretty easily. Toddlers, not so easy. So definitely, plan a little extra time to get to and from areas. Also, if you have a real busy day planned, I've got to go to the store, I've got to go visit grandma, I've got to stop by and pick up the dry cleaning, whatever it is that you have to do, make sure that you plan a few breaks in your day, even if it's just sitting in the car, feeding baby, reading a story, stop in the grocery car aisle and listen to what your kid is saying, give them a little hug. Just those kids don't always need hours of our time. Sometimes they just need a few minutes. And so I just really highly recommend making sure that you schedule those few minutes in just to make that day a little bit better for you. Also, planning ahead, I cannot say enough how helpful it is to pack the bags, pick out the clothes, and plan the meals ahead of time the night before when possible. Pack that diaper bag if you're pumping. Make sure you have the right amounts of milk. Make sure you've got your diapers and the other things in the bag that you need. If your older child is old enough, get an easy breakfast for them. Have the cereal poured and the milk in the fridge in a little cup, and they can pour it themselves. There's a lot of different, dynamics to that. You can figure out what you need. But do as much as you can the night before so that when you wake up in the morning, you're focused and ready to go. All right, these pictures just make me want to take a nap. I just love it. All right, so naps are your friend. Naps are your friend in many different ways. So one particular expert says that during nap time, you can build card houses, paint pictures, or read with your eldest while the baby is sleeping. These quiet activities will give you both a chance to slow down a little and enjoy some peaceful, baby-free time together. Other people say, oh, no, 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 you need to put both kids down together, and then I get the quiet time. And then other people yet say, oh, family nap time. We all need to rest. So whatever works for your family, whatever works for your day, take advantage of nap time. There's very few times the rest of your baby's life where they'll be sleeping so much. So definitely try to take advantage of that and use that. Also, I have a quote here from our friend Fred Rogers from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And he says, there is so much to do in caring for all the usual needs of the family, and now there's a new baby. When you're exhausted and don't feel your normal self physically or hormonally, it's hard sometimes to be kind and patient, and it can hurt your feelings when your older child gets angry at the new baby or at you. Your own rest is one of the most important things to help you cope. So when your older child is sleeping, do all you can to get rest yourself. We all know what it feels like to be the person living on no sleep. So just try to snatch it in any little piece that you can. And I love the quote here at the bottom of the slide. You can do anything, but not everything. And it is absolutely, positively, 500% okay to ask for help. Hopefully you're able to ask for help from relatives and friends when you need it. It takes a lot of inner strength to let people know that you need them. And people who love you are delighted when you ask. They want to be there for you. And I put this picture here on the left side because I thought it was a really good picture of maybe what it feels like to have postpartum depression. If you feel you may have postpartum depression or if you know you have a history of it, it's really important to seek medical attention. You can get that at your postpartum care or your primary care physician. You can also contact Labor of Love for resources as well as counseling resources. And I have learned recently that this information is equally important for dads. Dads' lives are changing just, or partner, their lives are changing just as much, maybe not with the hormone level, but on every other level. And so sometimes, partner needs to go in and talk to someone or get a little bit of help, and that's absolutely okay. So keep that in mind, watch out for each other, and take care of each other. Dun-dun. Another question. What have you heard about how your children will react to a new baby? This was referred to earlier in the webinar about maybe a little girl being jealous. Some other options are maybe the child will regress. If they're already potty trained, maybe they'll wet a little more often. Maybe they'll be aggressive. I had my big girl, I don't know, she put like toys on top of the baby all the time and run away. Thought it was the most hilarious thing. She was, of course, jealous. Then when my two older girls had each other and I had baby number 3, they completely ignored her. They're like, well, whatever. Glad you had a baby, Mom. We got each other. And then also, there's also the big brother or sister who loves that baby so much that they're going to smother him with kisses. And there may be many other options or reactions. Every kid is individual. But if you know your child the best, and if you're seeing something a little bit different, a little bit off, chances are it's their way of manifesting maybe what they're feeling and that things are a little bit different for them. One way that we can help our children adjust to a new sibling is to do what we call role play. So if there are other siblings, you can work out the older siblings with the younger siblings and the baby. If there are no other siblings, we can use stuffed animals. But any time that child wants to have a role play a part, then anytime it's possible, just let them. It's a great opportunity for them to learn, a great opportunity for you to teach. They feel involved, and it's just a really effective way. So they can be changing their baby's diaper when you're changing the diaper. They can be feeding their stuffed animals in the bathtub. They can wash their baby on the other side of the sink, or however that works out for you guys. It's definitely a great opportunity to use that role play. Now, so I have some information about bathing kids, and again, this is based on what your family needs, just kind of like napping was. So one expert says that bathing too slippery kids may be asking for trouble. Instead, let your preschooler help you wash the baby, and later your older child can have a special bubble bath and playtime in the water for you. But some people are saying, no, bathe both the children at the same time because it's a time saver. So whatever you need is really the priority, and that's what will work best for you. And also, it's very common for the older children, as mentioned, to regress. They might want to try things that the baby are trying. They might want to eat the baby food. They might want to drink out of a sippy cup. I mean, heck, I have a 12-year-old who wants to drink out of a sippy cup. Don't ask me what I did wrong with that one, but So just letting you know that it's very, very normal. And most of the time, after they try something that the baby I do better. So normally it's a very want to try it. It's new. It's exciting. They want attention like the baby, and so they have that role play. They get to do those things as an older sibling, and then pretty soon they're like, I think my goldfish tastes a lot better than baby food. So generally not a problem for too long. All right, now I just want to let you know that your older children will most likely pleasantly surprise you with how awesome they are and how helpful they are. The practice of praise, patience, and patterning will allow your child to find the super sibling inside. I'm so proud of that sentence, I'm going to say it again. So the practice of praise, patience, and patterning will allow your child to find the super sibling inside. You might even want to make them a cape, so when they're helping mom or helping partner or helping baby, they get to wear their super sibling cape. And just on a side note, I found this awesome website. It's called kidstuffworld.com, and it has a great description of how to make every kid into a superhero, you know, teaching them all those wonderful qualities like helping each other and being true. So I just wanted to let you know, and that's at the end of the webinar as well. All right, I have a blog excerpt to share with you about a family that has had 6 or 7 children. When we learned that Martha was expecting our second child, we were thrilled, but we were also a little anxious. During the previous year and a half, our son Jimmy had been the center of our family and, in his growing mind, the center of the universe. How would we handle the arrival of a baby at home? The first 2 years are what I call the attachment phase of a child's life. Your child learns that the world is a warm and secure place. He learns that if he communicates his needs to his parents, they will take care of him. Feed him when he's hungry, change his diaper when he's wet, hug him when he needs to be held. But there comes a time in early toddlerhood when a child needs to learn the magic word, wait. Waiting involves delaying gratification and realizing that there are other family members that are as important as he is. And I'm sure we all know adults who still need to learn this lesson. All right. Few experiences initiate this rite of passage in the same way as the birth of a new sibling. The arrival of a baby brother or sister can help your child understand what it means to wait and to share, and to give him a sense of becoming an independent person. It will also reinforce that no matter what happens, you are still there to support, nurture, and love him or her. Many parents are lucky enough to face the challenge of raising more than one child. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, almost 80% of children grow up with at least one sibling. How your child learns to get along with a brother or sister at home will set the pattern for how he'll get along with others. I just want to address that one sentence because I don't want to alarm anyone. How a child learns to get along with a brother or sister at home will set the pattern for how he'll get along with others. So don't panic if your 2 little boys are beating each other up or pulling each other's hair. That doesn't mean that that's what they're going to do for the rest of their life in society. It just means that what's happening at home is important. Your family is a boot camp for developing healthy social relationships. Remember, time fosters great relationships. Guiding your child through this transition will prepare him for other hurdles that he'll face outside the home. Jimmy learned to love his younger brother and the 6 siblings who followed, so I figured this dad knows what he's talking about. But that doesn't mean it wasn't a struggle sometimes. Every child will lash out at some point, even the perfect ones, because I have 4 perfect ones, and they did. What we've learned is that if you prepare your child and help him understand his place in the family, the happy times will far outweigh the stressful ones. I just love that so much. So guaranteed, you're going to have long days. You're going to have hard days. But the happy times will far outweigh the stressful ones. And you might even have a doting older brother or sister or super sibling on your hands before you know it. All right, now we're going to go through just a few ideas, ways to help your toddler or older child get ready for baby. Definitely tell your child about the new addition yourself. In other words, try not to let, and if it's already happened, you know, that's okay. Move on. There's lots of things you can still do. But try not to let them overhear you talking about being pregnant and having another baby. Try to make sure that they know about it first so that it's not a total surprise to them, except a good surprise coming from you. Also, time is really difficult for children to comprehend. Remember when you were young and summer vacation lasted forever and Christmas was like 8 years between Christmases? I mean, there's different things that you can remember that time was much slower when you were younger. So when the new baby's coming, try to associate the arrival of that new baby with an event or a season. For example, little sister will arrive after all the leaves have fallen off the trees. Or maybe little brother's going to come when you start back to school. Just find something that they can recognize and hang on to that will work for them. Also, children are bound to have questions about this time, especially if they're a little bit older. How did that baby get inside your tummy? What's going on here, Mom? How come I have a new brother or sister? Answer children's questions simply, correctly, and honestly. And do your very, very best to only answer the questions they ask. Sometimes we get a little bit exuberant, a little overzealous as adults, and we just want to spill everything. But just try to answer just the questions they ask, and that will be sufficient for them. And do you love this picture? I mean, it's the cutest thing I've ever seen. Prepare children for newborns' true abilities. This is a very common, I guess, disappointment for older kids because they think they're going to have a new playmate, and eventually they will. But when that baby first arrives, they're doing a lot of sleeping and a lot of eating and a lot of crying and a lot of peeing and a lot of pooping, and that's it. So just make sure that they know, hey, this little baby, they're going to be terrific. But for a while, they're just little babies, and that's just what they do. So just help them understand that. Also, it's a great opportunity to help the older children be involved in the baby's life by learning the baby's cues. What does it mean when the baby is doing this? And it also helps parents to be a little bit more aware of the cues as well. When baby's chewing on his fist, before he's screaming his head off, oh gosh, maybe the baby's hungry. Or when the baby arches his back, or when he looks at you. There's different cues that the babies will give. And it's really important for that older child to start looking at the body language and the facial expressions of their sweet new siblings so that they can really start a wonderful relationship with them. And then oftentimes those older siblings can tell Mom, hey, Mom, the baby wants this or that. And that's really helpful. If it's appropriate, you can take your child to an OB or midwife appointment. That might be really enlightening for them. Just depends on the age of your child and how the office is set up. But that might be a good idea, maybe for an ultrasound. Also, it's so important to reassure kids that you will love them forever. And you know that, but sometimes you just have to show that or tell them that in the way that they will understand it. So however your child feels that love, try to take that time and just let them know that no matter what happens, that their place in your family and in your life is set and precious and is not going to change. Also, keeping stress down to a minimum is very important, especially for those the older siblings that are getting that new baby. Stability and predictability will ease transition into a bigger family. When possible, do not combine a new sibling with a move, a new school, a divorce, or toilet training. Obviously, life is not predictable. Sometimes you can't control these things. But if you have any power at all to keep that stability and predictability, then that's highly recommended. Teach children to hold baby properly. If we don't teach them, they might get drug around a little bit. So definitely give them the opportunity to help them hold the head up and, support them. Or, like the picture on the right, maybe they can just lay next to them. So, and oftentimes they'll want to hold the baby all by themselves. So that's why it's important to maybe have them sit down instead of just carry the baby around. But they feel so grown up and so big and so helpful when they get to hold that baby. Also, this is a very useful tip. Ask your child's advice. Should the baby wear the yellow shirt or the green shirt? What shoes should the baby wear? And does the baby want bananas or pears today? Or what side is the baby going to breastfeed on today? I don't know, just whatever question you have. They just feel so excited to help. They get to feel like they're in charge, and they are giving mom advice about what to do with that baby. Is to read stories about their new role. And I need to remind you, of course, about our wonderful public libraries. They are completely free, and there are just terrific stories in there. I have many myself that are still family favorites. So definitely read some stories about new babies coming into the family, and it will give that child an opportunity to realize, gosh, other people are going through this, and maybe an opportunity to ask questions and just to explore their feelings a little bit more. And then finally, let your child do his or her own thing. As I was mentioning before, my two older ones, they kind of had each other. And I wanted them, hey, you have a new baby sister, don't you care? But they really didn't. I mean, they eventually did. But so I just had to let them play and let them figure it out. And when they were ready to come meet their sister, they did. And to just acknowledge all of their feelings. These little kids, this is all new for them. They're being expected to share right away, do everything in a different way, a different manner, and they're supposed to do it happily. I have to love my baby sister, but maybe they're not happy. Maybe they will be a little bit grouchy about it. But eventually, as I said, the good times will far outweigh the bad times, and we just have to be really patient and guide those little ones towards the direction that we want them in. And are there any final comments or questions before we go into our summary? We're getting a question. Just one moment. Oh, this is such a good question. Some of the tips, of course, we've gone over in trying to help the baby be more involved. The toddler more involved, asking their advice, helping them role play. Simply just really important. Oh gosh, I'm sorry that you're not feeling good right now, but just remember, I love you as much as I love the baby. There's also there's a couple of different ideas that have been presented when I was studying. And one mom, I thought this was kind of a brilliant idea, is that this little boy is having a little trouble adjusting to his sibling. And so the mom would use a voice for the baby. And the voice would say, hey, where's your bedroom? Or, hey, tell me about mom. Or, what is this picture like? And so she'd use this funny voice that was supposed to be the baby's voice, but the baby would be asking questions that the sibling could answer. And so the grumpy toddler thing, it might not go away immediately, but they definitely usually warm up to the child when they're given responsibility, when they're given time, and especially a lot of love, just a lot of patience and love. And sometimes they might need their alone time. For example, if that be grumpy, instead of having a family nap, to maybe have one-on-one time with them while the baby sleeps. And I hope that has helped. Certainly, if you want to talk about more things, then you can email us at laboroflove@loveless.com. All right, any other questions? Okay, we have a poem by someone named Roar, a definition of family in 10 words. Having a sibling means you are never truly alone here. As a reminder, today we've talked about scheduling your priorities, learning how to include older children whenever possible, and remembering to still take care of you. And one cheerleader call for you can do this. Congratulations on your baby. Congratulations on your family and the changes. We have a lot of confidence in you. And thank you so much for joining us tonight. Here are resources if you would like them. Also, remember that you can send contact information to us at Labor of Love. Have a great night.